One, I believe we are live.
Watch the Fling Show live on YouTube Wednesdays, 8 p.m. Central Time.
What are we doing here, though? We're doing
inside the Mando with a lariat,
which is an uncomfortable shot. Like, this is not something that you would pick ever to do.
right?
Okay, but you have to do it right here because we're choosing an uncomfortable shot.
And then Mando the big tree behind.
Found it.
Had a chance. Not much, but it had a chance.
All right, this one's for you, Dave.
Nemesis. Nemesis.
No, it was just two trees.
Nemesis.
Lava.
Amanda, what a great shot. All right, what are you doing? Okay, here we go. Rock 3. Never played before. Terrible. It's not terrible. All right.
All right.
Inside the stripe. 8.5, 9 paces. Beauty.
Oh, it's terrible.
Don't take out the children.
Ruby curl. Low curl.
Right after you fell down. Matrix. Looks like it's fall already. That brown grass.
I was noticing that with the trees today.
Right?
Looks like fall and it's not.
It's our summer fall.
Late summer, fall. It's another terrible shot.
Now this is a terrible shot. First flight, first throw ever. Right where I pointed it. I like how you zoomed in on the disc for me there.
Bravo.
Which are
park this one.
How you gonna throw it? Flat?
Don't burn it like that.
Show me the angle you're gonna throw it
Flat.
at. 3 o'clock.
I like that bayonet.
Okay. How you think that worked out?
Yeah.
We're just about done.
Two more bad shots.
This isn't a bad one.
No,
Whoa.
I mean off the box.
Who that?
The Fling Show. The Fling Show. Y'all wanna know about the mystery of flight. You wanna hear about the scene done right. So kill your TV and just come outside. We're gonna take you on a beautiful ride. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show. The Fling Show.
Well, good evening, folks, and welcome to the show. I'm one of your co-hosts, Chris McClung, and my other co-host, David Himmeline, will be here in just a moment with us as well. I want to thank him for that wonderful music. As usual, we got to put out a video yesterday. I hope that you go look at it, called Our Beautiful Game. It is full of Hemi's tunes as well, and just shots from around our area, from players around our area as well. So go check it out on our YouTube page. Please subscribe and like as well. And before we get started, as usual, we need to thank our wonderful sponsors, Team Lone Star Disc. And as you can see, and as you will see on the videos that we posted, all of our shots are taken with wonderful Lone Star Disc plastic as well. As you can see, he was throwing the bayonet. We both throw the Ranger, the curl, the lariat, the copperhead, the blue bonnets. I mean, my goodness, the list goes on and on. Lone Star is just putting out beautiful plastic. So go out and get you some right now. And before we get on to the show as well, this week, Saturday, 5 more spots available for the Texas Aster. The Trilogy Challenge is going to be at Stonebridge Church. Tee-offs at 9:30. They're going to be taking signups between 8 and 9 o'clock. Players meeting starts at 9 o'clock at Stonebridge Church. Only 5 more spots available. And for those of you who are not aware of what's going on, it is a 3-disc challenge. You come, you don't need a disc. The disc will be provided for you with your entry. And man, are they beautiful. These are all Signature Series discs, and they're going to start off right now with the Vandal, which is Ricky Wysocki's beautiful Signature Series disc. They all come in different colors, so when you come, you get to pick out the one that you want. Second, this player this year came in second in Worlds, Matt Oram. He's got the Worship. There it is, right there. Matty O's Signature Series disc from Trilogy. And of course, this is the 2-time world champion in this disc. I believe it's going to be a collector's item one day. Mr. Tar, the beautiful Pure. Yes, but you can only get them one way, and that's with the Texas Aster Trilogy Challenge. 5 more spots available. You can sign up day of. I don't know if there's going to be spots day of. So go on Disc Golf Scene right now and get yourself signed up. And then the next day, what do we have? One of my favorite named tournaments of all time. You may all go to hell because I'm going to go throw disc. That's going to be at the beautiful Shawshank Disc Golf Course this Sunday. It is the 4-part series to the Minor League Disc Golf Tour for Still Banging All the Change, held at Shawshank. This format is a doubles format. You'll play 2 rounds, 2 different partners. You'll keep your score. It's going to be great. So can't wait to see you guys out there. You can sign up for this tournament as well on Disc Golf Scene. Once again, you may all go to hell, and I'm going to go throw disc. Well, without further ado, let me bring on my partner in crime, Mr. David Himmeline. David, how are you doing this evening, sir?
Hey, Chris. Sorry.
couldn't see up there. I'm doing great, man. So 2 rounds at Shawshank. Dang. One day,
2 rounds, but it is doubles. So, I mean, you do get to hopefully follow on your partner a little bit and hopefully that they'll carry you through as well. But yeah,
and hopefully they'll carry you off when you fall. Or
it's only 18 though. It's not
okay.
the 223s. So you're not playing 46 holes.
That's getting cooler. Definitely
it's
cooler.
Going to get cooler. We're also teeing off, and this weekend's supposed to be beautiful. Actually, hopefully it's supposed to rain these next couple of days, but the temperature's just been for us down here. It's almost been like a springtime breeze.
Yeah. 97 feels like 75.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Anything that's not 107, once we get down to that 100-degree temperature, we're like, woohoo, this is nice.
Yeah, man, it's the humidity, Definitely we've had less humidity. And that'll be rolling back through. So it's gonna still feel like but
well, you and I had the last couple of days we were able to get out and throw some plastic. You really have been laying down some really good shots with these new drivers. Can you speak to the bayonet and the lariat and this how it's kind of fit in your bag these last couple of weeks?
Yes, Chris, I'm not sure his last name, gave me that Bravo lariat. I mean, not lariat, Bravo bayonet. And that's the first one I had. Before that, I had 3 Founders. I'd never really thrown a different plastic than the Founders plastic. And I like that one a lot. So that's probably going to be my new, somewhat stable. I probably would have thrown it yesterday when we played at Spring Valley. I probably would have thrown it more. Should have thrown it more. But the curl still working for me. I love the Starship. That's my new favorite.
Oh yeah,
didn't have it with me in any of your footage for some reason. I haven't been throwing it. When
I guess that's odd too, because I know you like that one. But kind of tell me a little bit. Here's something that I found unique, not unique, but I found interesting during our last couple of rounds. You have this ability that if you ask for a disc and you kind of get the idea of what that disc is and supposed to do, you have the ability to throw it the way it's meant to be thrown. I noticed a little difference though with the Founders plastic curls that Travis loaned you yesterday, and his explanation to you of how those discs flew. Yet it seemed to me out of your hand, it didn't seem to fly the way that it was explained. And I'd always kind of felt this way about the Founders plastic, that of all the plastics that they have, it's a little more stable to overstable for the disc in any other plastic.
I think so. Yeah, I think so with well, I mean, I turned the flippy one over, so I didn't really have that one on the money. It's a touchy disc. I mean, a curl is a real special friend you got to be really connected with. You can't just pull one out of the box. And you notice I threw yours on the roof. We haven't gotten to get it. It on the container. It's still there. So yeah, it's a real touchy disc. That's why I like my light blue one. And, I think I would have thrown better with mine. Nothing against the mold or the Founders plastic. It was a mental thing. That one was. And then off the box on one, just trying to keep his disc from going in that pond over there on the adjacent property.
Well, I'm the same way.
I didn't care about the shot at all. I was trying to keep it in balance. I should have switched to my anything else and throw it hard, but I wasn't feeling it. Drive wise, I was terrible off the box. Every drive was terrible yesterday.
Well, you were also playing with a lot of plastic that wasn't typically something that you were comfortable with or have thrown a lot. But I just wanted to kind of get your feelings on that Founders, because like I said, I love the plastic. I love the feel of the Founders. I just find that when I let it go out of my hand, I have to be ready for it to be a little more stable to overstable, or a little more of whatever the disc is. It's just a little bit more, whether it's understable or overstable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Well, and I'm all about feel. It's like, it just doesn't, really, except for my stable driver game, I don't really use Founders at all.
Mm-hmm.
Except for a couple of random, stable drivers, bayonet, that's about it really.
Well, I got some questions
Prefer
for
Brava
you.
Alpha.
Kind of wrapping up the season, and it looks like the Pro Tour is coming down to the end. And you and I have been talking and kind of keeping our eyes out on this right here, which is the cut line for the points lead for the PDGA series. And as you can see right now, it's full of Lone Star Disc team members. On the FPO side, you have one of our players who've been on the show before, Lisa Vajakis, is right there, right above it on number 18. And just down at 23, another Lone Star member, Deanna Carey, at 519 points. So she's got something to make up, and not a whole lot of tournaments to do that. And it's kind of, you and I have been wondering when these tournaments were. I do have that information, but let's go ahead and go over to the men's side before I pull that up as well. Emerson at 27, Nico at 28, got another Texan, Mason Ford at 29, and right at 32 and 33, right in front of Paul Ulibarri, you have Chandler Kramer and Robert Bird sitting right on that cut line. And it's coming into this weekend because I think they're in Canada at the MVP tournament, correct? Let me see if I can.
Massachusetts, they're in Mass. That's a Simon's home course. And also home of Marshall Street is it's just historic to the tour, and how it's connected with Stephen Dodge and, Yeti and Des and all, some Brinster. I mean, that's some old school players that were on those DVDs. I guess that's what it was, a VHS maybe. I think I had both, one of each, and it was all from Marshall Street, and it was just spectacular, and he was known. I watched the interviews today, the press conference. They interviewed Stephen Dodge, and he was talking about, they called him the King of Eights or something, where his idea is to create. He's not affiliated with the Pro Tour now. He sold it, or whatever. He's out of it. He just created it, but he's also got some cool ideas. One of them is this kind of idea of making holes like that one. That's hole 17, I think, at USDGC that you're watching right there.
Mm-hmm. And that's the date.
He's
October
making
5th and 8th.
spectacular holes that you can just sit and watch, and which is something that has been going on at the USDGC for a long time, where people camp out on hole 17, they camp out on hole 5, I mean, just different areas that are basically spectator. So when you take a course that's hard to cover, where you can't have galleries in there, which is what you're going to see this weekend, there's several tunnel, really tight wooded courses. When you watch, you're going to see those holes, and those holes are Stephen Dodge's kind of craftiness, how he sort of made this interesting area where people can congregate. So to handle the huge amounts of people, I know, I love that too. To handle those amounts of people, you need to give them some entertainment,
Mm-hmm.
and so you create holes that are like that, when I pulled up to the tour in Iowa, the first time I've ever really spectated one, they had an amazing one that right there in the parking lot, and that's the way to do it. You sell the concept by giving them this beautiful hole to look at, where they could spectate. Vandegrift did it this year at Texas State's. The finishing hole there, you pull into that parking lot, and there's this beautiful hole to watch, and so people get the idea, oh yeah, let's just camp out here for a while, and then you could move along, and go watch another one. But so that way you don't have to, be dragging around through, wooded areas, and they can't handle it now. There's to the point where those kind of holes, they can't handle the crowds, or they just can't. Crowds can't go there. It's too tight.
Right. It's like when I was in Illinois and found the same thing at Northwood Black and Northwood Blue. Although the one that they played Ledgestone at, the temporary course, that is definitely set for people to watch. But once you get back into the woods, there's just not anywhere to stand. You know, and it's unfortunate, but that is part of our game. And that's where I think that the TV coverage and the coverage on the holes and the shots are getting better, especially from what I've been seeing throughout the year. But I do find it interesting that we have the world champion. I mean, the US GDC is going to be here on October 5th through the 8th. So that's the next big major, except for what they got playing this weekend, which is, please get out of my way. There we go. You have
Pro
the
Tour
MVP
finale,
Open,
right? No,
yeah. You have the
okay.
MVP Open this weekend in Maine, as you just said, and then the weekend after the US DGC is going to be the Disc Golf Pro Tour Championship. And there's where all the points, but most of the players, which I did kind of find odd. I looked at it today after really listening to what you were talking about, some of the players that were already qualified. And as you can see right here, if you look on the right-hand side, you know, it says already qualified, USDGC qualified, Blue Ridge Championships, Jonesboro. So like you said, look at all these players that are already, they're all qualified. But then as you get to the earlier cards, there's where you find some of these Randon, Connor, Jake Thomas.
Wolf.
Flicker, yeah, they're not qualified yet, right? Chandler Fry, who's right on that cut line as well. So it'd be interesting to see, but it does seem like you said, people kind of play to see who's already been qualified, and it makes it a little easier as the season gets along. Would you not agree with that?
Yeah, definitely. Oh yeah, for sure. That's how you do it. You wait and you play the one that you're comfortable. Hopefully it's a course that you're comfortable with. You don't have to learn too much. You know, you show up to that one, you put all your hopes and dreams into that one tournament or one's close by qualifiers, and you go see if you can get in there, because it's possible now. I mean, at this point in the season, you know, just now, like you said, everybody's qualified. Now I have a question for you. Go ahead.
I was going to ask you, how do cards get set? Because I did find it a little odd that you had this plethora of, you know, Burridge, Kramer, Nico, Emerson, another Texan, Mason, and then Antila, all, you know, obviously he is not, but all these Lone Star guys in the same card. Is that odd, or is that something you see
man, often? You'd have to ask some Lone Star guys about that one. I don't know. By chance, right? I would say it's
I mean, they're not running the event. This is an MVP, so
40% chance it's by chance. 60, it was manufactured by somebody who wanted to see them all on the card or requested. I don't know how that works. You run tournaments, you know. I'm assuming they don't mess with it like that. I'm sure
we try not to, but I do know that if you're ahead of the tournament, then you obviously, if you're the big sponsor and you're a disc golf manufacturer with the team, you do have a little say on who gets to be on the featured card. In other cards as well, I would imagine.
Well, I think it's neat, man. I mean, I'm all about featuring and showcasing and all that stuff in the early round, you know. For sure, it's a show, you know, give some people some entertainment.
Now we go to the end of the year tour championship. I kind of want to bring this up and let you I don't think you can read it, so let's see if I can read it for you. It said the tour champion. Oh, let's see. You got me now. I can't see. There you go. The tour championship is another looming story with 31 as the current cut line in the MPO. It says Park. Gosh, somehow you keep getting to you for some reason. There we go. Players like Nicola LaCastra, Mason Ford, Paul Ulibarri, Garrett Gerthy, and Andrew Personal hovering close to the cutoff will be pushing hard for a solid MVP open finish to secure their spots. This is what I was going to ask you about. The absence of Macbeth might just open the door for this 32nd player. Notable names: Jeremy Cooling, Albert Tam, Greg Barnesby, and went to you again, would need a win at MVP to get back into qualifying spots. On the FPO side, with Kristen Zatar and Missy Ganning locking up top spots, the real drama might be in the positions below. Players like Ellen Hansen, who recently clinched her first Disc Golf Pro Tour event, and Holly Hanley leading the tour with 437 birdies, woo, that's a lot of birdies, are ones to watch out for. So it's going to be an interesting weekend coming up at the race for the championship. What are your thoughts on this field this year?
Yeah, I'm still a little bit confused. So this cut line, what does that mean in relation to what we're seeing this weekend? This is the Tour Championship, they're calling it, right? So that's the end of it, right? Or is there another playoff after that?
So to my best, see if I can pull it back up. Hold on a sec. That's not the right one. To my best knowledge, let's see where it's at. Is it here? There it is. All right. So my best knowledge, this is for the US DGC qualified, right? These are the players that have already qualified for that tour. However, there's the DGC, and then you have the Disc Golf Player Pro Tour Championships. That, I believe, is where the cut line comes into effect. This is what they're playing for, is to get to this championship.
Okay, so
two different championships, right? One's for, have you qualified for the United States Disc Golf Championship? And then the other is do you have enough points through the Disc Golf Pro Tour to play in the championships on October 12th through the 15th?
Gotcha. I was confused. I thought they were calling this one the Pro Tour Championship.
Oh, I'm confused too. I think that to me, it does a disservice to the game. And I'm not saying there's not a whole bunch of people out there who just aren't into disc golf, but for the layman who don't kind of understand all this separation, it makes it extremely difficult to understand. You know, you would think they would put it somewhat, side by side, but you had to go to different places just to find out the information. But that's the best that I know currently in where they are on their cut line as well.
Okay, I get you. So this MVP at Maple Hill, these guys that are on the cut line, they can make a move as well for the Disc Golf Pro Tour as well as the USDGC.
Correct, but like you had pointed out, some had already qualified the United States Golf Championship.
USDGC is like separate. It's
right,
a separate tournament.
But they still get their points for the other series as well, as long as it's a major event.
Gotcha.
Right.
We need Matt. We need Matt here to explain all this to us.
Or Travis.
Or somebody smart.
Yeah, Travis is the one for me. Now here's another one that I found interesting. It's they were talking about Tatar chasing history. She's never won the MVP Open. Of all the tournaments, this is one.
It's notorious for upsets. You had Bradley Williams winning it. You had Brinster. You had trying to think of another one. Anyway, it lends itself to that because you can play it without a huge game. It's not set up for bombers. It's set up for placement, hitting your lines. Putting. Steve Dodge hates the par 5. He's the co-course designer. He hates the par 5. He says when I see a par 5, I go to the kitchen and get ice cream.
It's kind of like when the team punts, right?
This is the guy that created, and he's at odds with Simon because they live. I think they're buddies. Like close friends. They play rounds together. Simon's the opposite. He's like obviously he loves the bomber holes, but because he understands them. And I think Stephen Dodge, being a 250-foot, max thrower, 300. I don't know. He may throw further than that, but that's my guess. It doesn't make sense to him. But to his point, it's boring. Yeah. You're watching 4 guys throw as far as they can. They're all pretty much in bounds. And then they got an upshot that's around, 400, 350 through a tunnel. And if it's a good shot, they'll get their birdie. Yeah, it's boring.
Mm-hmm.
I get you, Steve. I like it. I like when he's coming out of that because I'm not on a campaign against it because I love everything I watch. I'll take the par 5. I'll watch the par 5s too, but he's got a good point,
Mm-hmm.
And think about it visually. There's a whole everybody can ace, including the FPO. but it's technical and it's John Hawkish. It's like, eats you up if you miss it or if it kicks right or whatever. And just watching him bomb that one shot for an ace run or a chance to get a easy birdie, it's fun to watch. You relate to it better for some reason.
Mhm.
And I have a feeling people that aren't disc golfers might relate to it better too.
I agree.
Yeah.
And I love Missy Gannon here too. She's also chasing history. She's been as they say, she's been a beacon of consistency with a staggering 14 straight top 10 finishes on tour. And she secured top 4 spot in the Disc Golf Pro Tour United States Series of 2023. She's proven to be a force to be reckoned with. However, Maple Hill has not always been her strongest ground, with only one top 5 finish in her past 5 starts. Will this be the year that she breaks the pattern? After all, it is a big money Missy season. Tatar remains at the number 1 spot in the Disc Golf Pro Tour point standings, but Gannon still has a chance to edge her out. The stage is set. We shall see her head-to-head with Gannon versus Tatar match like we did at Worlds. What do you think about this coming up? I personally enjoy the ladies' game much more and am really looking forward to this, and didn't know that both of these ladies had the history of lack of success with considering how much they've dominated.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, it's kind of like that. I think about a course like Little E, or what's another one? Tat. It's kind of like that, it kind of like mixes it up who you think might win, I mean, it's not, it's a tough course. I think it'll be a really good test for Tatar to come out and dominate or even just win that tournament. It'll be a testament to her skill level, because that's the one thing that obviously that she hasn't really mastered, is that tight kind of wooded thing, as opposed to kind of more open kind of stuff. But I think if she goes and knocks this one out, I mean, her legacy is already on the way to being cemented, or whatever they call it.
Mount Rushmore. She's already kind of edged her.
They're already starting
up
to
on
carve
that mountain
up.
now.
They're starting to work on the profile and all that.
Yeah, who are they kicking out and who are they putting on? But she's definitely earned it. That's for sure. Now we're going to get to a little fun thing that I've been kind of delving into, and that's being able to show a little live video. And you and I have always kind of been all about promoting the youth of the sport. Well, man, did I come across a young man and a youth of the sport. I believe his name is Dylan Brooks. We'll find out here in just a moment again. But he played in a foursome, I guess it was this week, with Simon Lizotte, the man who hit the shot heard around the world, and one of our past guests, Chris Zingano, on a 4-card, and they played in an M1 division. So throughout this round, I'm watching this young man, and I could not believe it. So I wanted to pull it up for you, and I want you to tell me what you think. Landon Brooks, not Dylan. I do apologize, but his name is Landon Brooks. And right now, this young man, I don't know if you can see him, but he's down here over in the water. Hemi, can you see him?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I'm gonna play a few of his shots. So you kind of have to bear with me. This is the first time I'll be fast forwarding to get to each one. But first off, I just want you to check this out. And as you can see right now, he's already 2 down after 3 holes. And as you can see, Zingano's +1, Lizotte's -1, and James Conrad is even. So that's this young man's card right now, okay?
Okay.
Count his steps. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, about 12 out.
Right at the
Okay.
stripe, yeah.
Would you not say about 12 out?
Yeah, about right on the stripe, about 30-footer.
About 30-footer. Okay, let me get to the next one, which is at 1641. As you watch this one more time.
Uphill.
Okay, now watch this shot, Hemi. Oh, of course.
Oh.
A little bit of
Nice shot.
A little bit of ad here. There we go. Get that out of the way. All right. So check this out. We move forward. He's 3 under. Look at
Little
this.
Gannon bird looks.
1,
Gannon.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
40
On the
probably because
money
he's
again.
little too, so his steps they're more. So you need to count more for him. He needs a little more step.
And not only that, though, look how he brings
About a
the
40
disc
footer.
down to his right side.
Yeah, Emerson,
Mm-hmm.
kind of Emerson-ish.
Right.
Or
Now, you think, oh my goodness, okay, let's look at him off the box. Intimidating haul from most young men, 258 feet.
that's
And
hole
look
8. That's
at
the one I was talking
flight
about.
of that disc, Kimmy. Look at that. And oh, just for fun, I'm gonna hit the bottom of the pole. Now, mind you, look at the card that his young man is on.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right
Didn't we
now,
have
he's
Chris?
4 down.
Didn't we have Chris Zagon on one time?
Yes, I said he was
Yeah.
one of our past guests. So look at this
Yeah.
right now. He's 4 down. Zingano's +3, Lazat's +3, and Conrad is even. Now, to Lazat's attitude about the round, if those of you who did watch the front 9, he kind of is playing it like a lot of some disc golfers will do, is once he realizes that has not got the game that day, you can kind of see that he's not giving it his all. But Zingano and Conrad are playing, they're playing their shots as best as they can. So, but just to see this young man shoot that shot right there, and of course, right after he puts it right next to it, I believe that Conrad puts it right on the side as well. But that's just an amazing shot for what I believe he's around 15 years of age, if I'm not mistaken. Like I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm close. I mean, look at that shot too. Isn't that a beautiful hole?
I think that's the one that I was talking about. They call him Mr. 8 or something. Just the whole 8 concept.
And then you can just see right here, Lazat just doesn't really have it going on, drops it into the water, hits the tree, boom. And right there, he's already out of bounds, and he's already +3. And Brooks is -4, about to go into -5. So he's going to pick up 2 strokes here. And Zingano was just struggling all day. I mean, sometimes I thought he was playing my game. And I liked Zingano, but boy, how he was struggling. And this one as well. Just hits an early tree.
It's Chris Zagon, right?
Yeah, Zygon.
Zingano, perfect.
Zingano, you know me. I got to make up something. But anyway, so we're going to have to go to the second round. Now, this shot right here, okay, he's already had the drive. You know this hole because this is the raised basket, okay? He's at -6. Once again, look at the scores, Timmy. He's -6, +5, +6, -2. Okay, they're on hole 10, and he's -6. Watch.
Bang.
Did you see that? Just one more time. Look at this.
Nice 8 down. Oh, that's an upshot.
No, it's a par 4.
Yeah,
no, it's par 3.
It was a birdie on the par 3.
Yeah.
Okay.
Look at I don't even know how far.
Nice 7 down.
I stopped counting as he ran, but is that not an amazing shot? Look how excited everybody is. I just love it. All right, so now we move forward. Look how tight this is, but I want you to watch his form, okay? 192-foot par 3. Look how smooth that was, and just lays it right next to the basket. I mean, smooth finish, smooth release. Just amazing. So then we move it on up to, it's right in here, I think. Well, you want to ace something? Almost. I mean, once again, look at the scores, Hemi. -9, +7, +6, and even on that card. And yeah. Isn't that incredible? All right, so let's get to, I believe we have 2 more shots. Let's get to 17 minutes. And to me, this is just another, as he's closing them out on a putt. Oh, so I missed that just a little bit. So he's -10, +7, +5, -2 on hole 16. And just another, I don't know, Outside Circle. What do you think?
Yeah. Right at it. Yeah.
I mean,
Oh,
kind of
yeah.
steps
That's good. 33
yeah.
uphill.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 14 to 15 running
Yeah,
steps.
but he's tiny, so
Yeah.
it's probably around 35. Oh, got
Yeah.
big putted.
Yeah, he got big. Y'all got big putted, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Because he was out. Obviously, Lazat was out a little further on his upcome shot, but just a kid to keep your eye on. You know, I
Holy
mean,
crap! Thanks for checking that. Yeah, finding that. I haven't seen that. So
and
that
when they
what was
talk about
that?
the youth in disc golf,
Glitch World Champion. What is that? What was that?
yeah,
All
it's the
about?
Glitch MVP
Championship.
Glitch World Champions. It was, I guess, it was played on the same course they're playing this weekend.
Oh yeah. Because that whole 8 is the notorious one of the famous holes. So yeah, okay. So
not for that
is
young
it
man. That Dylan
Glitch World Championships or is it Glitch World Championship? That's kind of like getting in that area where we used to make up long names for our tournaments. It's kind of
right.
I don't know. What is that Glitch World Championship? Anyway,
we did
a tournament.
the United States World Galaxy Champions. Yeah, you know, something that just you cannot ascertain. There's no way to really come up to how you can get there, but somehow, some way, someone comes up with some name. I would think it's kind of funny. But I thought you would like that video. I mean, I think that it just goes to show, you know, it is a young person's game, and there is some talent just swimming around, and they're only going to get better. And what I love about that young man is like sometimes it's not, you don't know what you don't know. So if you don't know pressure and you don't know stress, you don't feel that. And while I know that those guys were kind of playing in a casual manner, you could tell that it was starting to kind of get to them that this young kid was beating them. And I kind of could see that in Lazat's game. Now he can say what he wants. Maybe he's injured. I don't know. But it was just one of those moments where everything started off where everybody's smiling. Ha ha, good to see you, pat you on the head. And then next thing you know, you're down 5 to him after 6 holes. And you're like, this isn't how this is supposed to go.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, you know. It's just one of those deals. I was thinking it kind of reminds me of Derek Carr's debut against the Cowboys. He made them all look like everybody on that card there.
And everybody was so mad
that?
because there's no way they should have won that game. You're right. You are right.
But no, that's a bad comparison. Terrible comparison. This kid's got future. I mean, duh, you know.
And David Carr had no offensive line, so
and,
yes.
and oh, did I say Derek? I meant David. So yeah, that's a good example too of that course. You know, a kid that's 15-year-old can go up there and crush it, hitting lines. You know, it's you know, it's tat with hills. You know,
and just to watch
like
his release and how flat the disc was coming out and flying straight for him. I mean, it was quite impressive to watch. I highly recommend y'all go check out the whole video. It's definitely worth the watch.
I will for sure. I'll check that out. He's been playing a long time though. I looked him up. He's been a PDJ member for 6 years, 7 years. So this kid's been playing since diapers. No, it didn't say his age, but there's a lot there. You know, he's been at it. So he's not a newbie. Definitely not a newbie.
All right, Dave. Well, I got some follow-up people who really enjoyed the music segment that we did last week. So that gave me some time for thought to gander about a few things. And I thought, well, David is a plethora of information on music, and especially the niche off the what most people would not consider to be popular music. But there are so many bands out there that you and I both know who made some incredible albums. So what I've done is I picked out 3 albums from 3 separate artists that I think that you are fairly fond of. Okay. And here's what I want from you. You can only pick one of these albums that you would want someone to listen to from beginning to end. Okay. It's that good of an album. And you're like, this is also somebody, if I had to pass on a musical talent, this is somebody I'd want you to listen to. Okay. You ready?
Yep.
Can you guess any of the artists in which you think I'm going to have on here?
Talk.
Wow, I would have done that one. Dang it, I should have remembered that one.
The Cure,
Oh, getting close.
the Smiths.
I went a little more obscure. You ready? Set. You got to look at them. Here they go.
Cult.
All right, ready? So you
Yeah.
can only pick one of these albums. Can you see who
start
they
to
are?
finish?
Did
Yeah.
you get this? You get to see here. I'll get the
Mhm.
gallery view. There we go.
What's the
All
top
right.
one?
The top one is Yaz upstairs at Eric's.
Yep, I remember
You
that.
have the Church Starfish, which we talked about last week, and Jeff Buckley's album. You can pick one that you tell anybody who's watching us right now, yeah, you really need to listen to this album from beginning to end.
As an album, Church beat easy one there. Jeff Buckley, there's a couple of really great, Lilac Wine. It's one of my favorite all-time songs. But that's the one I'd say go listen to that single, Lilac Wine, for Jeff Buckley. Or there's a couple on that. Jeff. That's where that song Hallelujah was stolen from American Idol and all the sing-song competitions. They stole that song from Jeff Buckley. It's on that album, and that's a great. His rendition of Hallelujah is the best one. He didn't write it. It was another guy you're familiar with, Cohen, Leonard Cohen.
Mm-hmm.
I think great, amazingly quirky songwriter wrote that song. But yeah, as far as the album goes, Church, Starfish, that was their wide album. That's the one that's the most cohesive listen start to finish, no doubt.
Start to finish. I agree. However, I think that the Yaz upstairs at Eric is a highly underrated album from beginning to end.
Yeah, I'm going to go back and listen to that one because
especially for a genre that is still not big, right? And it was definitely a synth pop alternative style music that wasn't something that you would hear on the radio, that you would actually have to go typically and see or listen to in a dance club or something like that along those lines, or just know somebody who was really into it. I was fortunate enough that someone introduced it to me in college, and I still think for the type of music from beginning to end, it is just an incredible album. However, Starfish does win from cohesiveness from the beginning to the end. I also got to see that in concert on tour at Numbers. I got to see them play that album as well. So I would agree. But I think all three are great albums. But you're right. I think Buckley's album has more singles. It doesn't have although it does have some great songs.
Well, I mean, here's my thing with Jeff Buckley. He was just he was the probably most talented musician of our generation, kind of like along the lines of a Freddie Mercury, or he had that kind of potential, and most people don't know about him because he drowned in the Mississippi River on heroin, so his life was cut short. But also he was kind of beyond all of that stuff. In other words, he was kind of like classical, he could have been an opera singer, he was really transcendent in the music world. And a lot of musicians were inspired by him, but it's not something that you put on somebody's album at a party. I mean, somebody's record player at a party and say, hey, y'all check out Jeff Buckley. He was just like a force, really kind of a gift to other musicians. I wouldn't put it on as sort of like kick back. It's hard sometimes to listen to because he really goes at it gut-wrenchingly on the vocals, and sometimes too much. He had this instrument that was like out of control. I mean, he could just do he was a virtuoso singer and guitar player as well. Same, same on the guitar. He was equally as badass as a singer as a guitar player. But I saw him live acoustic set in Austin at Waterloo Records with about 40 people. I stood right next to him, watched him play, and they did like dulcimer, hammer dulcimer. They had all these weird acoustic instruments, and they did that whole set of that album that you've got posted there. Did the whole thing acoustic, and I wish I had an album of that. It was one of the most spectacular things I've ever seen. Then that night they were playing Electric Lounge, notorious crappy sound system and a terrible room, but it was a cool club. It was a nice vibe. So we go over there and watch it, and the sound system goes out right in the middle of very, very first of the set. And Jeff Buckley just says, "Turn them off." And he's pointing to the mains. And so the guy turns the mains, and they just flip the wedge monitor speakers around. And the rest of the set, he's playing with his head into the monitor speaker like Nirvana, and they killed it. So it's just amps and monitors, like as if they're having a practice session, And so,
How did the crowd react? Did they
they're
become more
mixing.
quiet and pensive and listening? Were they more into the show? Because a lot of times when that happens, it'll draw people to really get into it. Versus, shows in Austin, sometimes you have people just talking throughout the whole set.
Well, no, it solidified it for me as far as his greatness, because he didn't bat an eye. He didn't bitch at the guy. He didn't cuss and, storm around because he was somebody, and you got this crappy. He just made it happen and made it work. And I was right in front of him. I was right in the front of the stage, and everybody there knew, I think, and this was just months before he passes away, because he died relatively young. I think I was still in Austin living there when he died. He was young. But everybody there that I knew were all musicians, people that knew music, and they, had a lot of respect for the guy, even though the crowd was small. He never did like arena stuff. He never got to that level, unfortunately. But yeah, great show.
What's funny? I've seen a lot of shows like that, and I'll take those every day of the week. I've seen arena shows. I've seen huge, festival shows, 100,000 people. I will take a room of 50 to 100 people any day of the week. I love those types of sets. It's just you see so much more, you hear so much more, and they connect with the audience, especially
like a mucky duck, like Mucky Duck or
the Mucky Duck.
Do, or there's one out in LaGrange called Bugle Boy. Listening rooms. That's what they were my favorite gigs too, except for one little pool hall in Abilene, Texas, where I saw the Love concert. The Book of Love, Gene Loves Jezebel, and can you name the third one?
Well, it said Love. I would almost said the Cult Love, but
no, Love, and that's the name. Love and
I don't know.
Love and Rockets.
Oh my goodness gracious! One of my favorite bands. Holy cow!
They were amazing. Amazing 3-piece. That was when they were still together. 3-piece.
Wow.
Brought a saxophone. The guitar player plays sax.
Yeah, David J. Askin, and I'll think the other guy's name is second. But I'm a big, huge fan.
But think about that show that we just saw. That's Book of Love, Gene Loves Jezebel, and Love and Rockets in the same club of about 250, 300 max. Little pool hall, basically a pool hall in Abilene, Texas.
Wow.
Crazy. Yeah.
I saw Book of Love at Numbers in Houston, but they were headlining that show. And I thought you were actually going to say, because earlier when we were naming best albums, you kind of led to one of my favorites of all time, which is the Cult's Love album, which I think from beginning to end is just one of the albums that everyone should listen to.
Yeah.
We'll talk about that on another day. But to me, that's just, there are certain albums that you listen to for reasons, and there's certain albums you listen to for composition because they all go together. kind of like Pink Floyd's The Wall kind of thing. But to me, Love, and when it came out and what it represented and kind of how it's stuck itself into all the American hair bands that were going on at the time,
Yeah, man, they were riding the wave of it. They managed to do it in a way that wasn't, caving into it. They sort of it's like they stormed the over marketed stuff that was going on and made something really cool and rock and roll out of it.
They also to me, they had the goth market, right?
Yeah.
Than
they were
in the hair band market. In other words,
for
they
sure.
were more the goth alternative side, even though they were rock and roll. I mean, you listen to them, it's just blatant rock and roll. But they tended to get that genre of people to come watch them versus who's going to go watch Motley Crue and Poison and Warrant and Stryper and all that kind of stuff.
As for me, that's interesting you said that, because I've always considered him a rock and roll band for sure. But the difference was the vocals. It was like, I think that's what won over the goth crowd.
Ian Astbury,
the people that like The Cure and New Order, they're going to be leaning toward a guy that sounds like that,
right?
Because he had a unique vocal sound. I mean, it wasn't just, hair band. It had some femininity to it, it had.
Oh yeah.
Some
kind of like the Dead or Alive guy. To me, he was right on that cusp. He was just a cooler, not that Dead or Alive wasn't good at what they were, but he just picked a little different way of directing his music, Dead or Alive did. Whereas Ian and the Cult really went more after that rock and roll. I mean, you could almost see him being a Hell's Angel kind of band, somebody put the Cult on their arm and a tattoo.
Yeah.
And of course they did start off with what they were called, the Southern Death Cult.
Yeah.
And then they were called Death Cult. And then they became the Cult. But I got to see that show, the Love Tour, when Jane's Addiction opened up for them at Numbers. I know it's a lot at Numbers, but I live in Houston, and it was the alternative place to see shows. See shows, but that was an incredible show when Jane's Addiction opened up for them. I had an earthly idea who they were. So I walk in, and 3 songs later, they're playing Triple A with like 19 drums and bongo drums all over the stage and people banging them. And it's just like, oh, okay. All right. I've never seen this before. And then you throw Love into that. It was just an amazing night. But I always think it's fun. You and I talk about music. We have seen so many bands at so many different times, so many different types of music as well. We could go on for hours just about music.
Yeah, I got some new stuff, man. I went down this Post Malone rabbit hole and listening to a lot of his songs, and I like him. I like him a lot. I mean, I think he's like, as a singer, he's I don't know how he's rated. I don't check ratings. Like, I was gonna say he's underrated, but maybe they think he's great. I don't know. Obviously he's doing something right. He's selling a lot of stuff, but he has kind of that modern, he's a modern kind of producer type, so he has this kind of vibe thing going, but when you break it down, there's a Tiny Desk concert with Post Malone out there. YouTube that and check it out, him with acoustic stuff, and check out all the people playing with him. Because he's like hoarse from being on the road and singing all these songs, but the crowd, the band, they're all just loving this dude. He's just got a great vibe. So through that, how you get on Spotify or whatever your app is, it'll give you the algorithm of after, like that guy's radio, what he would listen to, and so I've been hearing a lot of stuff that I'm, kind of expanding my musical horizons. I get a lot of music time driving around, and I like to keep it mellow. I like to keep it listenable. I like to ask the writers if they mind music,
right?
Because it gets a musical conversation going. And the other funny one that I do Ubering is they go, "Oh, you play guitar?" They'll see my guitar in there. I'm like, "Yeah." Do you play? I love asking that question because it takes the weight off of me, and then I get to hear their story, or it'll be, "Oh, my son plays," or blah blah blah. But today I had the opportunity to drive a guy out to Bel Air, and his wife, and he was a country bass player. So that was great. He was like, she's like, oh, he plays. And then he has a problem buying instruments and all this stuff anyway. So we got to talk about it. But when I dropped him off, we had a great conversation. When I dropped him off, I realized I'm like 10 minutes from Southpaw Guitars. And so I go in there and I play jazz guitars. They have rooms. They have all these playing rooms. I love, and they're not busy. It's in Bel Air, it's kind of sleepy down there. So I go in there and this guy comes in. His name, I can't remember his name. It'll come to me here in a second. Anyway, nice kid. And we start talking, and it turns out he was adopted. He was a kid on the street in Bel Air, and he was adopted by the owner of Southpaw Guitars. Great story. And now he's, pushing his 30s. He's been there for 20 something years, part of the store, and he'll probably end up taking over the store. So anyway, I said, do you play? And he goes, yeah, but I play right-handed. And I go, oh, that's a bummer. You're in this store. And he goes, no, but I played all the left-handed guitars right-handed. And I was like, oh, so he plays all the left-handed guitars. So anyway, I got a video of it. Like, that's incredible. That blew my mind, because everybody says that Jimi Hendrix played upside down, because he's left-handed, and he played a lot of right-handed guitars, but he switched the strings. So he was playing actually normal, kind of like the way I do. But what this guy did was totally, I don't think there's maybe anybody on the planet who plays like this, So anyway, that was my day. God, what's his name? Can't think of his name.
We always say, if you don't know his name, just call him Chris.
It was actually, it was Chris. And his dad's Chris too.
Right on. Well, that's all I got for this evening. You got anything else?
Man, that meme you did, or the advertisement for Texas Disc Golf, gave me an idea for Halloween costume. Could be double basket Bevo. So get you some horns and put some baskets on the end.
Oh, you caught that was Bevo there. I didn't know if you caught my subtle
oh yeah
longhorn. I don't know if you caught my longhorn kind of love this week at all, but I tried to hide that it said Bevo on his nose, so I blocked that out. I'm surprised you caught that. But you got that.
I know it's Bevo. That's all I'm saying. I know that's Bevo right there. And congrats to them. What a great game that was.
Ooh, I tell you what, that defense is twitchy, like I keep saying. And then big boys up front on both the offense and defensive line. And that's what you hear everybody in the media really talking about. It's like, the stupid thing about Texas being back, but the reality is you're not back until you control that offense and defensive line. You know that. You and I played football for years. You don't have that. You don't have anything against talented, especially once you get up at that level, right? It's one thing you do in high school, but it's another thing to do it at that level. And those have that offensive line is just amazing. I mean, they really just manhandled some 5-star recruits and pushed those guys around. So, however, we know what's going to happen with Texas. It's not when they play the big teams. It's when they play the Kansases and they play the TCUs and those guys. And Texas it's going to be those guys' Super Bowls. You know that as well as I do. This year, with them going to the SEC, everybody in Texas who was in the old Southwest Conference and who was in the Big 12, it's going to be their Super Bowl for Baylor, for Texas Tech, TCU. I mean, U of H. All of them it's their season. They win that, their alumni are happy. So that's where Texas
is. Like the old days.
Yeah. But I mean, it's been a long time. Even in the old days, it's just never been consistent. I mean, I'm a realist as a Texas fan. They've always had the talent. Sometimes they get too many pats on the back. They get taken care of in Austin, Texas. I lived there for a long period of time. You lived there for a long period of time. I'm fairly sure you saw some of the football players coming in and out of restaurants and things like that. They're treated like gods up there. So sometimes once you've already made it that high, I mean, what's the use in working real hard? So we'll see. we'll see if they keep working. That's the only thing I have to say about that. We'll see.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
But better than the Aggies. That's all I got to say. Once again, losing to Miami.
I've got a better, stronger feeling because I'm a fan. I come from a little tiny college, so I've never had any kind of team really. It's not like if I went to A&M or whatever. So I don't identify with any college, but I guess I would say Texas is every year I'm hoping the best for them, like a fan. So I'm kind of a fan.
Yeah.
But this year's different. Something's different, man. It's because I was thinking it's not going to be Texas is back until you beat OU at the shootout, and then you beat Alabama again when they make their way back into the top 4. And so you beat Alabama again. I guess that would have to be, I don't know how they set up the Final 4 bracket, but one of those 2 games, you're going to have to beat them again, and then you're back.
Yeah, I agree.
But anyway, well, thanks for the videos, man. That's great. I have to bring my own stuff and start playing better when you're filming.
You know what? It's been amazing. You were putting like a fiend. Your drives were just crushing it. You had the power and everything. And then just that one day, I was like, I don't know who came in Hemi's shoes, but that wasn't the Hemi I know. But it happens, like you said to everybody, and there's no use in getting all fussy about it,
Yeah, it's all right. I still had fun. I appreciate y'all giving me a call. And good getting out and breathing.
Oh, I love getting out. Yeah, I was just about to say I may hit you up tomorrow morning or so. Get out before it gets too hot.
Yes, sir.
All right, my friend. Well,
all right, good work. Appreciate you.
You bet, man. I love that video. I love it. Play it next week. I already have 2 music questions already in my mind. You gave them to me. You gave me some hints, so I cannot wait. I kind of enjoyed the music segment.
Okay.
How about yourself? You like it?
Yeah, I love it.
Right.
But I am not that knowledgeable. You just happen to hit lucky.
Well, no, I only actually
named a couple that you knew
about bands. I think you already have either a deep knowledge of, affection for, or you've shown me and we've listened to them. You say, hey, I really like this, blah, blah, blah. So
right.
I try to do it in that sense because it's really about you spreading that information about the Buckley. I mean, I wasn't a fan until you introduced me to him, and then I fell in love with them. Right.
Yeah. Go listen to Lilac Wine. Just YouTube it or whatever. Just listen to that song. That's like, it's a gift to the music world. It's a really
agreed, and I really appreciate that. So we're going to get into more music like that, some more obscure things that you like and you're a fan of, and we can introduce our crowd to, because I think music helps heal the soul, my friend.
Yep.
All right.
Lifeline. Okay.
Peace. Go throw something in the air. There's Mikey rolling into the water. We're going to see him this weekend up there in Huntsville. Hopefully he won't be in his kayak on that lake, because he probably wouldn't be but like a foot. Maybe he'd step into water. It's so low right now. But all right, guys. Till next time, go throw something in the air. Play some disc golf, bruh.
Yeah,
Peace.
just fling it. Just fling it.